So we got -3, -4. Back to it. Let's look at number 8 now. Last one with substitution. How am I going to start this problem?
-4x minus 2
equals
3x minus 2.
Yes. My second half. -4x minus 2 equals 3x minus 2. So I've got my x values that I'm going to highlight in red just to help me keep track. And there's quite a few ways that we could solve this. There's always a few ways we can solve an equation, but at first glance, what are we thinking a good first step might be? 3x. What about 3x? To the -4x. So are you wanting to add 3x, subtract 3x, add 3x? So if I add 3x, I'll have 3x plus 3x equals 6x over here. And then I would have -4x plus 3x is 1x. That might be a better idea there. Now, if you wanted to get rid of 3x, you could do that, but we would want to subtract 3x since we're starting with a positive. I would recommend whenever it comes to variables, if you have a negative x, I would add that one to both sides to get rid of the negative. So let's actually start with adding 4x to both sides. That way, our x's are going to cancel over here. And what happens next? Yes, let's bring down our -2 equals 3x plus 4x is 7x minus 2. Now again, you might look at this and think, how am I going to solve this? Because no matter what I do, I'm going to cancel these -2's next, aren't I? Yes, don't forget 0 is a number. 0 is a number. So the only option that we really have here is to add 2 to both sides. So we're going to do that. Plus 2 plus 2. Now deciding which one cancels and which one we write equal to 0, what I'm going to do to help me with that is draw that dotted line in between my equal sign. And if there is something left after those numbers cancel, we don't need to write the 0. I still have 7x over here. So -2 plus 2, those cancel out. We can X that out. Now over here, -2 plus 2, we could say those cancel out. But can I leave nothing on this side of my equation? No. That's why in this case, we would need to write 0 equals 7 times x. Because 0 is a number. I mean, if you wanted, you could bring down plus 0 over here and then subtract 0 from both sides to get rid of it, but it's just, you're just writing stuff and it doesn't help you. So what do I do next? Divide by 7. And 0 divided by anything is 0. So our x is 0. And how do I solve for y? Yes, we can use either one of these equations. And we're going to plug 0 in for x. I'm going to use the bottom one. All right, y equals 3 times x. We'll leave a space for x. Minus 2. X is 0. So to solve for y, we just need to do 3 times 0 minus 2. What's 3 times 0? 0. 0 minus 2? Minus 2. Y is -2. Okay. So what's our coordinate? 0, -2. Very nice. Okay. We're almost done. Last page. Go ahead and move that over. So now we have elimination. When we use elimination, we always have our equations in this standard form where we don't have y equals some stuff. We have something x plus something y equals something. Now, whenever we're using elimination, the goal is to eliminate or get canceled out either the x values or the y values. So I will say, for the most part, the way that I've been teaching this is to just look at the numbers and decide which ones look easiest to cancel. That's not really giving much explanation there. So to break this down a little better, if you are somebody who, when you look at this, you're like, I really don't know where to start. I don't know how to decide which number will be easier to cancel. Something that we can do is see if we can multiply any of the values to get them to match the original. So what I mean by that is, for example, let's look at the x values. I have a positive 5x, I have negative 4x. If I want my negative 4x to be equal to this 5x to make it cancel, I could see if it'll work by taking 5 divided by negative 4. If I get a whole number, then it could work. I'm going to look at the y's now. If I want my negative 2y to cancel out my 8y, first of all, what does this negative 2 need to become? A negative 8y. So what I can do is take the number that I want this to become, negative 8, divide by negative 2, and that'll tell me what I need to multiply my equation by. So I'm going to say negative 8 divided by negative 2. What is that equal to? 4. So I know now 4 is what I should multiply this second equation by, because if I multiply by 4, I can cancel out my y values. So let's go ahead and put that second equation in parentheses. Oops. Okay, so we're going to multiply the second equation times 4. I'm going to write 4 right here, and we're just going to use distribution to do that. So what does my first term become? Good. Negative 4x times 4 is negative 16x. Minus 2y times 4 is, yes, minus 8y. Bring down my equal. Negative 10 times 4, negative 40. Okay, so I've done that. Now we're going to rewrite that first equation on top, and we're going to add the two equations together. So 5x plus 8y equals 18. I draw a line underneath both of them, and I'm going to put a plus sign here so I can indicate to myself that I'm adding these together.
I got that same answer, but I put 5x plus 8 on top of the other one.
That works just as good. Perfect. Okay, so let's start going down the line. Negative 16x plus 5x. What will that give me? Negative 11x minus 8y plus 8y. They cancel. That was the whole point. We eliminated the x or the y's. What comes next? Yes, the equal sign. Bring down your equal sign. Now I have negative 40 plus 18. Negative 23?
22.
22. Thank you. Negative 22. All right. We're almost done solving for x. What would I do here? Yes, we're going to divide by negative 11. Those cancel, leaving me with x equals what? 2. Perfect. X equals 2. So if we were to write this out as steps, essentially what we did is we chose a variable to eliminate, and we multiply one of the equations to get those to match, okay? Now we've solved for x. What is the last thing we need to do? We're going to plug in this x value of 2 to one of these equations. That's going to help us solve for y. So I think I'm going to use the top one. Unless anybody wants to see the bottom too. I'm going to write 5x, but instead of x, I leave a space because I'm plugging in my 2, plus a y equals 18. And 2 is x. So what would I do first here? 5 times 2, which is 10. Bring everything down, plus 8y equals 18. Yes, subtract 10. Remember, I'm trying to get y by itself. To do that, I need to get my numbers without variables all on the same side. So let's get rid of 10 by subtracting it. And that's going to leave me with 8y equals 8. What would my last step be? Divide by 8. Perfect. Y equals 1. There we go. So our x is 2, our y is 1. If we wanted to write a coordinate, it'd be 2, 1. All right. That's number 9. Do we have any questions about that one before we go to 10? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and move this over. Stop me if I'm going too fast. Okay, so number 10. Which variable should we try to cancel out? The top one. Yeah, I want to cancel my x's out. Why the x's? Yes, if I take my top equation times 5, I'm going to get 10x, which will cancel negative 10x. So let's start with that. I'm going to multiply every term by 5 here. So 5 times 2x gives me that 10x. 5 times 5y. Good, 25y. Bring down my equal. 5 times negative 3, negative 15. And gosh, I could really save myself some room if I would write it like this every time. Now I've got my addition problem already stacked up on top of each other. My negative 10x plus 8y equals negative 18, and my positive 10x plus 25y is negative 15. I'm just going to cross this off so I don't accidentally add it. So what happens here? My 10x's cancel. 8y plus 25y. 33y equals Almost negative 33. That's all right. So I've got 33y equals negative 33. Now what? Good. Divide by 33. And we get y equals what? Negative 1. Now be careful, because we have been so used to, in all the other problems, solving for x first and then plugging in our x value. What value did we just solve for, though? Y. So when I plug this into my equation, don't plug it in for x. Plug it in for y. So let's see. I'm going to use that top equation. Plug it in. 2x plus 5y, leave a space for the y value, equals negative 3. And my y is negative 1. So what do I do next? Add 5.
You're gonna multiply.
Yes, multiply 5 times negative 1 gives us negative 5. So I'm going to bring everything down. 2x minus 5 equals negative 3. And then what? Yes, add 5 to both sides. Those will cancel. And then I'll bring down 2x equals negative 3 plus 5 is 2. Okay. One more step. Divide by 2. I'm going to rewrite it over here. 2x equals 2. Divide by 2 on both sides. And we get x equals 1. So x is 1. Y is negative 1. Our coordinate would be 1, negative 1. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. Okay. All right. We ready for 11, or do we need another minute? I'm going to move it. Let's look at 11. We're almost done. 9x plus 2y equals negative 23. 2x plus y equals negative 4. Which variable looked easier to cancel? The y's. Why does y look easier? Because it's just 2 and 1. I know I can take 1 times 2, and then I'll have both 2's. Now, what do I actually want this y value to become so that it'll cancel? Negative 2. In all of these other problems, we have negative 8y, positive 8y. Over here, we had negative 10x, positive 10x. Now we have positive 2y. We need a negative 2y. So what do I need to multiply everything by? Negative 2. So let's do that. Negative 2 times 2x is negative 4x. 1y times negative 2, negative 2y, good, equals negative 4 times negative 2, 8. Okay, now I'm going to rewrite my other equation. 9x plus 2y equals negative 23. And we're just going to add these together. So negative 4x plus 9x, 5x. My y's cancel. Bring down my equal sign, and 8 minus 23, negative 15. All right, last step. Good, divide by 5. X equals -3. Okay, now how do I solve for y? Plug in my x value. I'm going to use the bottom equation because I got smaller numbers here. So we're plugging in our x value. Make sure we put -3 for x, not for y. I'm going to try 2x, leave a blank, plus y equals -4. And -3 is my x. Okay. So how do I solve for y?
Multiply 2 times -3.
2 times -3 is -6 plus y equals -4. And then what? Yeah, add 6 to both sides. Bring down my y equals -4 plus 6. 2. Very nice. -3 is x, +2 is y. Our coordinate would be -3, 2. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, last one. I know. Wear you out. Okay. What do we want to try to cancel on number 12? The y's. Okay, so we're going to try multiplying that 5y. What do we want that to be equal to? What do we want the new number for y to be? -15, because I want to cancel this +15 above it. So we'll multiply by the number I also heard you say, -3. Now remember, if you ever are not sure how to figure out what you're multiplying by, I'm going to say, well, I want it to be -15. Divide by the number you already have. That'll give you the number that you need. -15 divided by 5 gives me -3. So -15 divided by 5 equals -3. That's how we got that. Okay, so let's multiply -3 by each of my terms. What does 3x become? -9x plus 5y becomes -15y equals 24 times -3. Negative, what was it? 72. Perfect. All right, now I'm just going to rewrite the top equation, stack them up. -10x plus 15y equals 15. And let's add these together. I already know my y's will cancel. Yes, -19x. -57. -72 plus 15, that is -57. So, good, that's the last step, divide by -19. X equals 3. Okay, let's solve for y. I'm going to use the bottom one. That's what I'm thinking too. We got smaller numbers there. So we found x. That's what we need to plug in. 3 times x plus 5y equals 24. Just plugging in my 3 for x. Okay, and what do I do? solve it. How do I start? Perfect. 3 times 3 is 9. Perfect. Subtract the 9. Those cancel. 24 minus 9, that's 15. So now I have 5y equals 15. What's my last step? Divide by 5. And we'll get y equals 3. Y equals 3. If I wanted to write a coordinate, it would just be 3, 3. Same number. Woo! It's a lot. 12 questions doesn't really seem like a lot until we do them. It's a lot of work. Okay. So that is all of the required questions. We do have a bonus. Uh-oh. Now you have a system with 3 variables. Ah, this is possible to do. We can run through this, talk about it. I don't think it should take too horribly long. We can do this using a few different methods. However, I think the way that it's set up, substitution may be our best bet. Meaning, yeah, because we already have an x value solved for. We're just going to start kind of rearranging things, figuring it out as we go. So I actually personally have not done this one just yet, but we're going to figure it out as we go. Let's see. So I need to solve for x, I need to solve for y, and I need to solve for z. I have here so far that x is equal to negative 2y plus z. I have negative 4x plus 4y minus 5z equals 24. I have negative 2x plus y plus 2z equals 10. Just by looking at these, do we have any ideas at all for how we might begin this problem? Take everything right here. Take it times 2. That's what you're thinking? Okay, so that could cancel out our x's on these 2 equations, right? Okay, we could try that. You want to try that? See if that works? Let's see. Times 2. So that would make this, or you said negative 2.
Yeah.
Negative 2. Okay. So negative 2 times negative 2x, what would that give me? Yes, 4x plus y times negative 2. Negative 2y. Okay. 2z times negative 2. Negative 4z. 10 times negative 2. Negative 20. Okay. And are we going to add that to the middle equation here? The top one is also a part of it. There's 3 equations. I know. There's a lot going on here. But that doesn't mean we have to work with all 3 at the same time. So why don't we start with these 2 and see what we can come up with? Let's see what happens. I'm going to rewrite this one underneath. Minus 4x plus 4y minus 5z equals 24. Cross it off so I know that I rewrote it down here. So we don't add them together. So my 4x minus 4x, what happens? They cancel out. So I've eliminated my x's. Minus 2y plus 4y. 2y. Negative 4z minus 5z. Negative 9z. Equals negative 20 plus 24. 4. Okay, so we've gotten rid of one variable. What should we do next?
There's no more left to add the other problem.
We could try that. I'm looking here and now I see negative 2y plus z. Well, that could cancel with this positive 2y. But then we got an x in there. Interesting.
There's nowhere to plug in the x right there.
There ain't nowhere to plug in the x. Well, let's see. There isn't an x left in here. Over here I have x equals negative 2y plus z. What if equal them to each other? Ooh, that's a good idea. Oh, and set them equal to each other? That's actually a good idea. What if we rearrange this equation? Let me try something. What if I add 9z to this side and try to get this equation so that it's y equals a number? So, like, let me show you. Let's do plus 9z on both sides. That cancels. That's going to leave me with 2y equals 4 plus 9z, or I guess you could put 9z plus 4. And now maybe we could divide everything by 2. See what that does. Okay, y equals 4 divided by 2. What is that? 2 plus 9 divided by 2. What is that? 4.5 z. Okay, so we have y solved for here. What if we then, let's see, rearrange the top equation to make it y equals and set that equal to each other? This is going to be a long process, you guys. Negative 4 on the bottom row. Say that again. Where? What are you talking about? Oh, would he get the y's to cancel? Oh, okay. So here's the deal, guys. I'm gonna be straight up with y'all. I put this one on here thinking this can't be that hard. I can do it without doing it myself first. I think I'm gonna mislead you if I don't make sure I know how to do this first, because I'm gonna be honest, I don't know where to go from here. So that being said, let's put a pin in this. Take a break. If you want to start on the quiz today, you totally could. However, that was a lot just now. I'm not gonna lie, that felt like a lot. And I'm kind of thinking for the bonus, we may be going in a different direction just due to time constraints. I'm worried that I'm not gonna have enough time to explain this to you and to learn it myself. So, I think we're gonna stop there. If I come up with another bonus question, I'll definitely let you know. There will still be bonus points available on this quiz. I mean, if you can figure this out, you'll definitely be getting bonus points, because I need to educate myself as well first. So Anywho, I'm going to end that recording there, and maybe we'll revisit this.